How are you guys doing? Today we're going to be talking about Godforge, the latest Alpha Wave 1 experience that I have been live streaming almost religiously. You can kind of see on the past few days, especially for my channel. And we're going to be just honestly talking about the game's Alpha Wave, how I felt playing this game, because at the time of this recording, we have completed technically the Alpha Wave experience, which is getting to the end game and fighting to put some damage onto Fafnir here. Just put yourself on the leaderboard so you've made this stamp. But the whole point of Wave 1 is to try and find some bugs, and we're going to kind of talk about bugs today and what bugs we was able to find, and I'm going to show you ones that I was able to experience too from other people reporting those bugs, so you can have a little bit more fun in this. But the general experience, let me just kind of talk about that before we get into the fun stuff, right? Alpha Wave 1, honestly, has been really fun. I'm going to be honest, right? The whole purpose of this is to find bugs, and what a lot of people are trying to do, which I wouldn't honestly think you should do, is critique the game on what you see right now. Because the thing is, this is Alpha Wave 1, and a lot of the stuff you are seeing are just placeholders, right? This image we're seeing, for example, in the background here is just a 2D image. There's no animation, there's nothing in it, it's not alive, it's not doing what you might expect it to actually be doing when the game really comes out, especially with all these different areas we aren't able to access either, so you're not really gaining the actual Godforge experience, right? So what you need to do when we are looking at a lot of the actual gameplay, especially in this section, is just look at the basic gameplay of what the game is offering, because even this tower experience is set up in a way that anyone, if you've got no experience like myself, or if you've got a ton of experience in playing like Raid Shadow Legends or Ethereal Restart, you know, one of the brand new games, and even Dragonair Silent Gods, right? If you've been playing those games, you should actually kind of feel a little bit at home already playing this game, which is going to make it a bit better for you, right? But for someone like myself who's never played this game, the Tavern experience is quite nice. It's quite easy for an Alpha Wave to understand what the general purpose of this. So to kind of explain that is, you've got all of these stages, as you can see in the background, that's kind of flying up and down, and they are structured in a way so if you want to get specific rewards, you're going to be able to do that, right? So Stage 71, for example, if you go to the reward preview, you're able to farm here legendary, potentially, helmets of these 3 sets in the game, right? As well as if you complete the challenges, you're gonna get some extra rewards, as well as every time you complete this, you might get some random gear. You can see a random hero, potentially, and a 1-star hero spirit. And you can kind of go to the next one and see a common theme here, but the only difference is they are changing what you're able to obtain. And you've got to think, in the actual game of Godforge, that is probably what is going to be the experience in the battle area, right? Because we've got the dungeons, we've got the bosses, we've got the campaign, we've got caverns, right? And we've got all these different areas in the game that we're able to basically go to, start to farm and get these type of rewards, and obviously boost up our account. But as an Alpha Wave, they are trying to put all of that into this one cavern, right? Which I think is a really clever experience, and I think a lot of people will agree it's quite enjoyable, including myself, right? So just remember, everything we're seeing right now is just Alpha Wave 1. It's a placeholder, but they are trying to emulate the experience that you're going to have through all of these different modes, including the exploration, the Pantheon halls. Obviously, we don't have the Godforge summoning mechanic or the market here, but we're able to potentially do some really cool things maybe in the future, right? So we do have access to the Smith and the Creation. We'll talk about that towards the end of the video, but let's just experience a little bit of the gameplay, right? What does the gameplay feel like, and what does it do, right? So if you go into any of these fights, you're gonna be able to pick out your team. Most of the stages are 4-man teams whenever you go to a boss stage, which is any multiple of 10, so 10, 20, 80, right? What we've got here. You're able to have 5-man teams, and there is obviously these little challenges on the little right side if you want to go for them. But I'm just going to showcase just some heroes that I have obviously been using, because these are just kind of what have become like my bread and butter right now, right? So it's basically this team, and we can kind of take out Sphinx for Aphrodite here and just swap these two out. Now, what's really cool is every hero, if we just kind of zoom in there, has them little kind of emblems at the top of their portraits. And you notice our Aphrodite has a lightning bolt, which gives us 20% speed, right? And if we can kind of put in our Isis into that slot, we're going to get resistance. And if we go over here, which is 20% HP, if we go over here, we get initiative, which is really important when you are playing these style of games. And you kind of learn that, like I did, as you start to progress, that speed is very important in this game, right? But when it comes into the core gameplay loop, right, we've got the autoplay on right now. So this is just the game being able to play. I am not doing anything out of that. And I can also kind of put myself over here so you can kind of see everyone's portraits and everyone doing their thing in game. But what I'm able to do is actually just hit the autoplay feature here straight away, and I'm able to kind of take control. And this is what's really interesting in the game, because we have all of these skills and passives, and depending on who I need to kill and what I need to kind of focus on, you can see I've got these joint attack skills that I'm applying. I'm able to kind of look at my skills, have an idea of, is this the time I want to trigger this skill, or do I just kind of want to, use my normal skill and just, kill them because I'm able to kill them, right? So it's a really cool way of almost playing, like I would say, like a card game, right? You've got your turn, you've got your cards, you can play something per turn when it's your opponents, and you're taking it in turns to almost having like this game of chess. Are you able to lock down your opponent? Are you able to combo off into some really cool experiences like we can kind of do here, for example, on my team? I'm going to try to do it next round to get the full effect of it, because this is what makes, I think, Godforge stand out over Raid Shadow Legends and other games that I've played, because yes, this turn-based combat is the same as you'll have noticed on other games, but what's really interesting is what we're able to do now. So as you can see over on the far side, we've got Aphrodite, and she's on fire, she's feeling it, and that just means her ultimate is ready to be used. And what I can actually do with her ultimate is generate more ultimate energy for my other heroes. And in other games, this might not sound that impressive, because obviously when I press my ultimate here, I would have to be on Aphrodite's turn to use that ultimate. But in Godforge, you can actually use ultimates on any turn, and it doesn't take up an action. So what that means is I can actually use Aphrodite's ult here, as you'll see, and we'll go boom, we'll do a bunch of damage there, and we actually triggered Isis to get her ultimate, which we can now use her ultimate in the same turn and get a little combo going there. And you can actually do some really interesting combos too, with depending on what heroes you're running and what their passives might say on their skills. And it does give you the the question of, do I save my ultimate to try and do a big combo off and try and kill everyone in one go, or do I need to potentially lower someone's divinity to kind of work better with another hero that I might have in the lineup? And that kind of is a really cool way of adding that layer of just complexity, that complexity that you want, but without actually making it difficult for the player to understand, because they are going to figure this out and they go, ooh, what about this? And then they start to kind of try out some really interesting combos. And that's what I started to do when I was playing the Godforge experience, right? I played out from like waves 1 to 60-ish with a really fair, rare team, only rares all the way through. And then I went, you know what? Once we got to about stage 80 to 100, I started to run a bit more epics in my lineup, and then eventually legendary heroes in my lineup, right? And that allowed me to obviously push through to the final end game levels and obviously complete it as a completely new player in this experience, right? However, there is some things I would love to see improved, right? So far, we've obviously talked about what I've liked and enjoyed of the kind of Godforge experience. And obviously, I understand this is the Alpha Wave 1, and I expect in the future, the game is going to obviously add what I'm going to be talking about just as something on the list already. It's just they're not able to add it in because it wasn't a priority for them. They just needed to make sure people and things were working out. Like so, Gilgamesh doing the one smash, which has been such a favorite combo of mine, honestly. I've absolutely loved that hero. But to go on that point, what haven't I enjoyed in this kind of experience? And this is kind of from someone who, again, is new to these games, right? I'm not someone that is super specialized and understands all of these mechanics, and obviously for them, I understand they're going to probably add in a lot of ways to actually make things work a little bit better for us, right? And the best way of explaining this is if I just bring in just a bunch of heroes here instead, just to get a bit of crowd control on, and you can probably see what I'm going to be going with this. But a couple of my issues with the game first is when it comes to obviously debuffs, right? So debuffs in the game, really cool, and you can go on to like a web page and see all of these debuffs and what they do in game, which is fantastic. But is at the moment on PC, if I click on this or click and hold, nothing happens on this, right? And that's kind of a big issue, especially for someone like myself who's new, trying to learn what all of these mechanics do and what all of these buffs are doing. And I do expect them in the future to add a way so if you hover over this, it's gonna obviously allow you to see that. Another pet peeve though is a bit of the camera work. I don't know why, but the swaying motion, so you can see the camera naturally moving left to right, is a bit disorientating, especially for someone like myself. Again, if I put my mouse here onto that icon and I'm not touching anything, that's the camera angle just rotating, right? And because it's like rotating and now it's coming back, you can see where my point is, right? It makes it a little bit more difficult again for players to just kind of like think if they are going to be clicking on these icons, how are they going to click on them? So that was like one issue that I had, right? Another one was just the camera angles themselves. So I love the 3/4 one, as you can see right now. 3/4 one, really cool angle, especially the top one as well. The only thing, I don't know, it might be just me, but I would love either in the settings menu in the future, or if you do it by default as well, just zoom it out a tiny touch more, because it allows you to actually, especially in the 3/4 one, it allows you to make sure you're hitting the right heroes, because sometimes you might want to hit, for example, this Sphinx, and sometimes it might just click Loki, and it's just like a bit of an issue. Same with like if you click in over here, it could click over this way, and yeah, it does become a bit of a nuisance when you are trying to push certain floors and you misclicking because of the camera movement. And as you can see now, they're overlapping. Like, look, this is the issue here. I don't like this. I just don't think this should be something that's in there, because this overlap now, especially when I'm using my A2, I've clicked here and Loki's got it, but what if I wanted it on Sphinx, right? It wasn't going to pick her because of this overlap. So this is kind of one issue I've personally had and suffered with, and I just think like, it should be a little bit zoomed out, or again, stop the rotation on it. The default view, though, is really nice. I do like the default view. When you play in 1 times, you do get a sense of pride and the actual effort that's been put into the game, which is the animation work on the skills. You can see how they are incorporating all these different angles, and your hero is over there on that right side. It's like him versus the world, and you can like pick your skills, what you want to be doing, goes into the full animation, and it looks epic, right? And the only issue, again, if you are playing in default, this is just for me, my personal opinion, is when you put it in 2 times. Because when you put it in 2 times, the skills look really good at a point, but now you'll start to see it flicks between animation scene because it's camera angle all the time, and sometimes it can be pretty disorientating for you, right? And that's not what you want to happen, right? So there, look, really good example of it. It's just like boom, boom, boom. Especially if you put it in auto, it's a little bit too much. So I would say if you put it in 1 times, you are going to get the maximum Godforge experience. And it is really nice to watch. Look, like that looks cool, man. That look and feels sick to do. And even when you are using certain abilities that target, you know, your allies, like Aphrodite does, it will switch to the opposite side so you can actually see your team in a better selection view. So again, the default one is really nice, but for me, I've been one of the 3/4 boys. I've been loving the 3/4 experience, right? What are my suggestions, though, to this, right? Because obviously I've been talking about some of these areas, and I think what could happen, and this could be interesting, because a lot of people are saying the UI looks like you're looking at Raid Shadow Legends, because instead of having the buffs above the health bar and having it like this, they've just moved them down, right? And you got to remember, this is all placeholder at the moment. But what could be interesting is what they could do is maybe if they moved these buffs over here on the turn meter. So like, even though my heroes down here on the bottom have these bleeds and afterburn effects, and again, I can't click on them to see what they do, I can imagine in the final product we'll be able to do that. Be interesting to move maybe these, because that would allow you to have 5 and 5, which allows you to easily put it into a nice little row column, or you can have 3, 3, 3, and like 1, and then in the future, if you choose to go to 12 buffs instead of 10, you can have obviously 3, 3, 3, 3, 3 in a little square grid on your little turn meter. Because then, like I can right now, I know it's my Odin's turn, I can scroll down and find this archer, I can click on him or hold on to him to see the buffs, and then just, you know, check out the buffs, what's going on this hero. So this could be maybe an interesting solution, maybe to change up what the UI looks like, just from my experience from playing the game. And again, everything we're seeing here, you got to remember, isn't gonna be the final product, right? So this is just alpha wave 1. So let's talk about some fun stuff now, because we kind of give you guys my kind of a little bit of review gameplay showcase there of obviously Godforge, and honestly I've been enjoying it. If you want to see actual gameplay roller coaster journey of me going from floor 1 to 151, which was all live streamed, honestly check out my live videos, because it is an absolute entertainment watch. I get mad, I get tilted, I get excited, we get dopamine hits. It is everything you kind of want to see, right? So let's talk about now the bugs, some of the bugs in the game, because we did find some bugs in day 1. I was one of the guys that really did figure out some bad exploits on my account especially, and I know some players had one of the same bugs as I did, which was when you completed stuff like stage 30, as people will know, stage 30 allowed you to keep getting the rewards for some reason, and had a super high rate for legendaries, right? And this was because like what you was able to do for some accounts were always claim these first rewards, right? And if you look at the first chest, which is 1 star, which is just for completing the wave, you are always guaranteed a legendary, and it could be from like Aphrodite says, it could be Odin, Heimdall, Ra, Anubis, right? So you can get, I think, one of those 5 champions in stage 30, right? And it was a really early phase to do it, and if your account was bugged like mine, you could keep farming those stages, which allowed players to go kind of crazy and go for 5-star Ascension heroes. I didn't do that, but I did farm, obviously, the heroes to have access to them, right? So we did get stuff like this, same like this, but again, my Ascension level, I actually leveled up later down the road. So you can kind of see, even like my Ra is only 2, we got Odin from that, and Odin's only 1, and I got that second copy later down the road too. So I didn't really take too much advantage of that. However, we did find a massive exploit, and I know I sent it over to the Godforge team, and as of this video, I can kind of, I think, confirm it got patched instantly. I think they patched that bug and the account bugs at the same time, because this bug was kind of detrimental. And if you can't guess it, there's a little spot the difference on screen, and a lot of you people will obviously be asking, how the hell have you skipped stage 44? A lot of people will be saying that. That's the obvious question of what was asked, right? However, that wasn't the thing, right? I figured out a bug, and I'm not going to display this bug on screen just in case they didn't patch it, and I don't want people to go nuts with it, right? But I figured out a way to 0-star a stage. And what that allowed me to do on day 1 with the bug, which we just explained, which allows you to basically farm those 1-stage rewards. I was all the way down here at like stage 70 or something, but I was able to go back and say, do you know what? You know, stage 60 here, I want to get this reward. I want to keep farming these Molyneux and all these legendary weapons all the time. And I was able to actually just 0-star this, stage and keep doing it. I was able to do it to any stage in the game. So like even this one, which I was able to 2-star really easily, I was able to farm both of these first challenge rewards infinitely if I 0-starred it with the bug on account. And that is a big no-no, right? You don't want to exploit like that and take absolute crazy advantage of it, because obviously then you kind of ruin the experience for yourself as well playing the game, and that's how I felt. So I didn't really do that. The only reason I've got so much energy is because I finished the game and I haven't spent as much time as other players kind of auto battling, as you can imagine, through all these different stages in the game, right? So let's have a little bit of fun. Let's talk about the heroes and some hero bugs that we experienced, because these are the fun ones that we can end on a high note and then kind of summarize the experience in today's video. And if you've been enjoying this kind of Godforge experience, just me giving you just an honest one-to-one in today's video, smash a like, comment, and subscribe, and expect more Godforge content coming to my channel, because I do plan to place it on my main channel, because I do love this. It's been a really good experience for me, right? Well, the hero bugs. Horus. Oh, poor Horus. This is still in the game. It's a real fun one. If you're playing Alpha Wave 1, if you want to experience, I will show you how to do it. All you got to do is be able to basically place Confuse. Place Confuse onto a Horus, and as long as the other Horus and itself has its retaliation buff, which it should gain quite easily, because there is a skill I believe it has that allows him to place like just retaliation on. So there's just that basically attacking each other infinitely. I think it's on one of the stages with Isis that allows it to happen. But yeah, as you can kind of see with the bug now on screen, it just creates this infinite loop and it will just keep hitting each other. And there's only 2 outcomes. That's the funny thing, is there is 2 outcomes to this bug. Either one of the Horuses will kill the other one, and it will end the cycle eventually. It's a lot of damage to get through, but it will do it. The other one is you'll never end the loop. It will infinitely go forever, and that is because the Isis on team has already placed like mends onto these units, and because of that, they are healing like 5,000 to 10,000 health each hit, while only dealing around 4,000. So obviously, if you're healing more than you're dealing, you're never gonna come out of it. So if you get that version, you're gonna need to reset your good old wave, right? And there is another really good bug with where is our good old friend Musashi. Jesus Christ, the bug of the century, which everyone has definitely become gone against, which is just terrifying. He's able to kind of attack you, place taunt on you, and bug out sometimes, like you can see now on screen, and just kind of infinitely hit you. He can just keep hitting you on the enemy AI as you're climbing up these floors, and eventually kill your unit. So if that happens to you, rip, but it is a commonly known bug. But it's a little bit of a fun one, again, that we've been able to find. So big shout out to obviously all over the Godforge community that are finding bugs, reporting them, and just obviously showcasing how to replicate them too. So other bug testers like myself can showcase them and go, yeah, 100% we can, you know, replicate that. They are right on the mark, right? Another really important one, and I've done it on our good friend Isolde, and you can use this bug on other heroes, but this one does do some interesting things, is with gear. There's a really interesting bug with the gear set Avenger, and if you have a hero equipped in a 4-piece Avenger set, which is really fun, what tends to happen is if you go against any team that places a Radiance 2, and it does proc off Radiance 1, it's just much harder because of the damage that comes back. If you do have a Radiance 2 team in or higher, if there is a Radiance 3 guy in the alpha, when you attack, sometimes what can occur is the Radiance proc will damage your unit, which counters attacks for some reason triggers, and this 25% can hit. And what can happen, which I have to kind of, obviously you can kind of see now in the video, I had to refine this, where my Isolde was able to do like a 26 hit combo where she just attacked forever until she killed the unit. And the even more insane about this, coming back to the game now, with obviously champions like Isolde, yeah, is her skill, because this is a basic attack that triggers, and for her, she always places a mend on an ally with the lowest HP. So no matter what it is, for her, she puts basically someone on max stats for mend, so they ain't dying, which is kind of funny that you can do that. And obviously there is other heroes you can take advantage of this with. We've done some really cool things with a hero like the actual Archer here, because again, he attacks one enemy with 25% crit chance. Obviously if you hit him, he might be able to hit back and absolutely obliterate you. Even this common with the Avenger set is kind of broken if you can get the right stats on the gear, because he attacks one enemy 3 times, and if you kill that enemy, you have a 50% chance early game to grant an extra turn. And the thing is, like, you can do some damage to them, potentially get the proc, and if you don't, well, guess what? With the Avenger set, it can kind of hit back, and you can steal turns with this hero. It's a weird bug, but yeah, it's very, very interesting, right? So there is a bunch of other bugs in this game, and one that we can't showcase because I don't have the hero, but I'm going to showcase some footage of it, is Hercules. So we'll see how many times we can get this this guy to reset, right? So there's one. He's frozen. There's 2. That's 3. He's just healed for 54.8k. Grandpa's like, what the fuck? Now you can understand why I have been raging. That's 4. Freeze. Let's go again. Let's go again. Make it 5. There we go. 5 in a row. Like, why? It's so painful. What, A2? Here we go. He's back again. 6 in a row. You thought I was joking and I could make him go 7 times? There we go. 7 is the lucky number. We made it. We made it to 7, guys. Can we make it to 8? Is this going to be a new record on live? It is. 8 times we've just got him reset. Can we make it 9? Do we get a number 9 in the audience? Is there 9? Let's look. Ooh, this could be a good one. There we go. And as you can tell, I hate Hercules. I have absolutely hated Hercules. He's been the bane of my existence with his respawn timer not going on cooldown, basically. So if you don't know, Hercules has a buff, well, a passive, which says whenever he dies, he can revive back up to full HP. Fair enough, but it doesn't go on cooldown at the moment. So sometimes you can get an 8-kill combo if you can lock him down and keep trying to kill him. You can do some outrageous things with that. So yeah, those are some bugs that have been in, obviously, the Alpha Wave 1 that I've been able to experience. Out some of them I've been able to find, as you can see, and I'm still going to be looking out as this Alpha Wave 1 is continuing right now. I'm still going to be looking out for some bugs and doing some testing. So if you guys want to join me in that, join the live streams on things. But to finish off the video, I kind of want to just talk about, you know, some bits about the overall summary of my experience, which is what I'm gonna say. I think a lot of people experiencing the game for the first time, especially someone that is playing the Alpha 1 experience, right? I think everyone who's done that will say one thing and one thing only, and I want to say thank you for how quick and how good hellhades, obviously Susie, there's obviously Dirk in the background as well doing the coding and stuff, and all of, honestly, the Fateless team, all of you guys that have been able to get that feedback, right, from us, the players, and then been able to fix especially those account bugs and some of the really game-breaking bugs day one straight away with a fast patch notes, even when players wasn't able to actually, you know, go and experience Godforge on the mobile devices. There was a massive hiccup at the beginning, and guess what? That got fixed so quickly, and it's been done. You know, that's like the common thing you'll notice, I think, in Godforge, right? This Alpha Wave 1, anytime you've put a suggestion, you've talked about the game, you've given feedback, bug reported, I'm telling you, you have had someone thank you for it, give you a reply. Even sometimes you see hellhades himself in the Alpha chat joking around and answering questions about the Alpha Wave 1 experience for new players, which is just really good to see for a game. Honestly, you don't kind of see that in other games. Let's be honest, you normally see other games just set out other mods to do that type of job, right? But here you're actually gaining, you know, the guy who's behind the game to actually talk to you, which is something I don't think many people have experienced in a game before. And honestly, Godforge and Alpha Wave 1's done fantastic on that. Also, the gameplay, I actually, like I said, I actually like the gameplay. I think I am hooked on this game just for the simple fact, like you're kind of seeing on screen now, I can combo one ultimate into most likely a second ultimate, comboing into a third ultimate, and doing some absolutely disgusting things, as you can see there, in the game. I think it's just absolutely fun, and it's very interesting too, depending on, again, certain team comps that you can be running. So that's going to be it. Honestly, let me know your thoughts about your Alpha Wave 1 experience, because again, I am, again, just a new guy to the genre. I've been making Godforge content in the past, I've been enjoying making that content, but I've been waiting to get my hands on this game, right? I've been waiting, and now we've got it. The content is gonna start pumping out now until obviously it stops, and then we get into, hopefully, Alpha Wave 2. Simon, I'm just saying, put me in Alpha Wave 2, please. And then we can have a bit more fun. But yeah, that's going to be obviously today's video. So tell me, again, what you guys think about it. Smash like, comment, and subscribe. And with that, stay safe, guys. Stay sneaky. Peace out.